we're cool here. Now we're in, are we holding each other accountable to meet up, or are you going, oh, something came up, and then are you doing it again another time? Now we're probably not going to get that far. I'm not mad at you, but you know, we got to play this, like, I don't know, this level game until,
Yeah, you got to put time in.
Yeah.
until, you know, I can feel comfortable just knocking your door and busting in on you. Like, what up? I didn't call, but I just, it ain't right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really refreshing to hear like the male perspective. We do appreciate like your vulnerability here.
Yeah.
Of course, you were already vulnerable before you walked in the door.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like you're already in like a healthy, you know, self-aware space, and I think we don't see that a lot, especially from like, you know, male podcasters. So we do appreciate that. And so I guess we can like transition a little bit. So a question that I wanted to ask, I know you spoke about, you know, the friend who you'd like to apologize. I'm very big on apologies too, and I'm like, you need to say sorry or I'm going to stay over here.
Yeah.
Because it's just like that accountability. It makes me feel like you respect me as a person, and maybe that's my pride. But also I just try to make decisions for like my future self. Like, would my future self be, you know, glad that I spoke up or that I just like rolled over? And so if that person came back and apologized to you, like, would it take a little bit of time for you to process? Would you be like, okay, let's catch up, maybe we can work on this? Like, what would it take to rekindle that friendship? Would it be more than just that apology?
No, I think the apology is just the starting ground. Like you said, it's just a little bit of accountability. And really what we want to do is go back and forth, right? I mean, I want to seek understanding, but I also want understanding, I guess, you know, like just to know, like, I was wrong. I mean, there's facts of the matter. Like, if you talk to someone, whether you had a bad day at work or something's going on at home, and you just, you know, you're working Chick-fil-A and you don't say my pleasure, like, it's like
That's not consistent with the brand.
yeah, like it's like you still like cussed out a customer, you know, and if you can't apologize that you did that, you're just going, well, this happened to me and this happened to me and this happened to me, but you still cussed out someone. I just need the apology, like, hey, I did do that and I was wrong. Let's just start there. And now, like, I can open up to like, wow, that, I mean, you did go through a lot, but you know, how are we going to handle it moving forward? And then, because that's my whole thing, and I think I learned a lot about myself. And you know, I'm like freshly married. I'm, you know, going into my second year, but I've been with my wife for 10 years. We met at UW in college in the library, and you know, that experience of like 10 years being with the woman and having to like let my ego die to grow, you know, because it'd be simple things, and like that's ultimately been healthy for me. But it's been difficult. I mean, like, you know, you get in a disagreement and you turn the radio up, and I've learned not to turn the radio up, just to go, can we talk about it? And it's hard for men to get there because, like, you know, we just be like, I'm good, when you know you're not. We just be like, I'm fine. And it's so funny. And my wife's a Virgo, you know, and I'm an Aries. So, you know, I know, like, I just be sporadic, and she's very planned. So I saw some post talking about, like, hey, what's going on? You're moving different. No, I'm fine. It's like, bro, I know every detail about you. You different. It's like, so it's good to just take a deep breath and just, okay, my feelings are hurt. Just to say it. And then, like, once you can put a label on it, you can go anywhere. So I think that's it. I need that apology, and then the rest can be open. But that's the boundary aspect. It's not like an ego thing. It's just a boundary. If you can't do that, how can we go forward or be in business or something? You know, if we can't even we can't meet at the rawness, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weight in apologies. I mean, people do weaponize it and don't really be true to apologizing. But if you can really come to someone heart in hand apologizing for something that you realize, no, I did wrong to you on this, I think that is powerful within itself. And yes, like you said, there is boundaries. It's like, okay, well, what's the next action? Because it's one thing to apologize and go back and do the same thing, but it's another thing to apologize and be like, oh no, I see where I went wrong.
Yeah, just
let's fix this. I can change. And there is, I think, unfortunately, there's too many people that just apologize just to be saying I'm sorry, to be a sorry person.
And you feel it when it's not real.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you get that apology? Yeah. Or was it one that you weren't feeling? Like, I got it, but like you said, it was just like airy. It wasn't like
Victimized, sorry.
So I did get a sorry. So the one that I'm thinking about, I did get an apology, and it was like, but I'm going through stuff. And I was like, I'm going through stuff too, and like, you act like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I just sat on it for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? I thought about this, and like, honestly, I'm not there in my life. Like, I barely got any grace to give, you know? So I'm like, you know, like, I genuinely wish you all the best, but like, this isn't like ebbing and flowing with me right now. Like, I need people to show up. Not like right now expeditiously, but like, when I'm at my lowest, like, I just, like, number one, okay, I always joke with Mel. I'm like, stop being mean to me.
Yeah.
Like, don't be mini pants. But I'm just like, I be cutting people off for being mean to me because, like, who you talking to? And, like, why would you be mean to me?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not, like, above, you know, people being mean. Like, but it's just like, girl, like, you know, we do this together. I do this for you. Not that means anything, but I'm just like, this is what you think of me? Like, I do take that very personally. And, like, she apologized, but also I was just like, I shouldn't have to call you out. Like, I think she only apologized because I was like, hey, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And granted, if I hadn't been, like, at my lowest, I probably would have given her more grace. But like Kaylin said, my house was already on fire. I was like, baby, I don't want you adding fuel to it, you know, like, and I just cannot take you being mean to me right now. Like, I'm literally already crying every day with a broken hand.
Oh, man.
And no car. This is when I had my car accident.
Yes.
So I was just like, I can't take this.
That brought up something when you talk about, like, you know, just from the beginning where we're at, what do you look for in a friend? And where I'm at now, like, I need that communication. Like, the bare minimum is, and I remember I called out my friend group where it was like, I be calling them and they don't call me back. You know, we'll see each other and go play games the next day or something, but it's like, I ain't the crazy guy. I'm not your crazy girlfriend. I'm not going, bro, you need to respond within an hour, but I'm like, at least return it later.
Or just acknowledge.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, and that's something that I'm really mindful of, like, hey, I missed your call. You good? Like, it could be a text later or the next day, like, oh, yo, I know you called like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
What happened? So I remember calling them and going like, hey, guys, like, we were in the room, like, about to go out to the club. I'm like, I just want to say I'd appreciate, you know, when I call, if you could at least get back to me.
Right.
I always get back to y'all. Like, I'm like, you're supposed to be my friends. Like, you know, where I'm like, and I call y'all, each one of y'all, no one calls me back, you know? And maybe the writing was on the wall, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we're blind to it. You know, and sometimes you like more than the other. I was like, but, yeah, I don't want to get too lost there, but yeah. Yeah.
Let's segue into another part. So in the friendship series, and a lot of viewers and people out on the streets have brought this up to me, and we waited until we actually got a male perspective on it as well.
Okay.
But Kim did talk about having one of her best friends is a guy, and one of my best friends is also a guy.
Yeah.
And the question arises, how can men and women be friends, especially at our age and as we grow? How is that possible? Because there's still a lot of people, unbeknownst to me, that are like, oh, that gotta be tough. And you're married, I'm married, and my husband is my best friend. But there's my guy friend. We've been friends since high school, freshman year high school. And that's my ace. Like, that's my bestie right there. So, like, and people know that, and our spouses know that and are aware of that. So we just wanted to get a male perspective on it as well, because
I think it's very possible. Like, I don't think that there should be that, I don't know, misogynistic line or you know, like, I think both sides, right? No problem. I just think it comes with, like, transparency and just being clear, where it's just not like a question. That's all. I think if it's questionable, then maybe that's when you're like, oh. But I think, it's just really being clear. And, that's like a real fact. Like, they know you since high school. You got jokes or things from there before that. You were telling them about your husband. You know what I mean? Like, and then it became a reality. So I think really being intentional, putting each other in those spaces to feel comfortable and know each other. And then if you're hanging out without each other, you've already introduced it, where it's just not like, who's this friend I've never seen? You know, now my mind is wandering all these places. But so, and then also, I think it's also knowing, just being true to yourself or in the friendship. Like, if the friend is wanting to be more than a friend, like, you got to set the boundary, you know? But if that's not happening and the respect is always there, then let it be there. I like to do a lot is just to make my wife feel comfortable. You know, if I'm talking or if I'm on FaceTime, like making sure that she's acknowledged.
Yeah.
Little small nuanced details, because you know, I think what I've talked about in therapy, even about this subject, was like the way they described it was like you have like a bank of love or something, and you make deposits or withdrawals from it. So if you are spending this quality time with a friend, then you have to make sure to put that deposit into your bank account in your household, so it doesn't seem like you're just pulling out too much money. You know, you're doing too much there, and then they're like feeling it's like I want hugs or I want some attention. Wait, y'all having fun talking about anime? I don't like anime, but now like so what can I bring? What can I bring back? It may not be the anime thing or that close thing I have with that friend, that girlfriend or boyfriend, you know, but it could be I come and bring some kind of you know reciprocated energy back in my household to keep that balance. I think is what's important. Like when you're in that, because it's not an issue until you have a partner,
right?
Really, because when you're single, you're not worried about who, you know, no one can tell you anything. When you have one, there's just that vulnerability. Like, hey, I thought I was the only one that made you special. Like, you know, you laughing so hard over there.
Like she's not that funny.
Right. That joke was not that funny.
Like I heard it, but you know, but it's like, and then when you try to re-explain it, if you understood the context, like from back in 9th grade when like, and it's like, okay. So yeah. So well, what about you? Like you said, what about for women? Like, how do you guys feel about, you know, your counterpart having a woman friend?
I think it's possible. My guy best friend, we've been friends since we were like, what, 22-ish? But also I'm prior military, so I do know that the dynamic of like military friendships are different because like
Y'all
just
been
like
through
all
the
in the shit together. Yeah. And also like me and him like never like there was never like we didn't previously date. There was never like any like romantic
Sexual
connection
tension,
or anything like that. I literally like hated him at first. I was like,
those be the
"You're
best
a fucking
friendships.
asshole." And like he knows that, and so you know, anytime he's like been serious about someone, like he always talks to me about them, or he'll be like, meet my friend Kim. Like I've met, you know, a few of his girlfriends, and now he's married. And so she knows who I am, and I always make sure like he texts me all the time, like all the time. And so I'm always like, you know, tell her I say hey, ask her how she's doing, you know, checking in on a baby. And then I'll text her, well, not text her, but I'll tell her to tell him like, did you tell her I checked on her? Did you tell her I asked about her? But I don't, you know, luckily she was never, you know, threatened by me. Like I just kind of mind my business, and I don't go like overboard, but I definitely connect with them. And like we've all hung out before. And so I feel like he and I kind of act like brother and sister.
I was curious, like, have you dealt with like a dynamic where maybe your guy friend is talking to a girl and it's like, yeah, I don't like her. I don't want you talking to her anymore. Like, have you guys went through that kind of hardship
with the guy?
Well, no.
Oh, like where I would tell him
like
I don't
maybe
like
maybe your friend is talking to a girl now, right? And one of his girlfriends was like, yeah, you can't be friends with no girl.
Oh, I would be like, okay.
Yeah.
I would just be like, okay, I'll see you later. Like, I'll be here when, you know.
So you'd be more understanding to that?
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Like, she's priority. I wouldn't be offended by that.
How about you?
It's the same. I mean, if we're talking about the same guy friend, I would absolutely be hurt because this is decades later now. But as we were growing up, I mean, you got to think about high school and that early college love stage for people, and the people that he was dating at the time, and they had absolute problems. I make a joke because we were so tight that like him and his girlfriends would come over to my grandmother's house. My grandmother would cook. Like we would sit down and eat bread. Same thing with my grandfather or my father. Like our families are intertwined. Like when he's in the military, he retired from the military. Woo woo! Shout out to him.
The benefits.
But while he was overseas, I would check up on his mom. I would send her cards every holiday, just making sure she was all right. So we are tight. But in the early stages, it was some girls that were not comfortable with our relationship. Yeah. And they made it known in the worst way. And I think because of our age at the time, it was more like, nah, I'll fight that hoe. But as I'm older, and if his wife at this time was like, you know what, I'm not comfortable with you and her relationship, I don't think you should be friends, I do think I would take him route too and be like, it would hurt me for sure. Yeah. But she does take precedence. That is your wife. That is the mother of your children. This is someone you've been with for a while. And if it comes to that, then that is that. And the same vice versa. If my husband did say like, hey, I don't think you should be friends with him, well, naturally, like, you need to give me reason, but I would respect that as well.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that friends are interchangeable. A lot has to go into it. But I will take that respect role and take the step back.
Yeah.
And it is. I do respect their relationship. I respect their union. I respect their marriage. And anything, I never want her to feel uncomfortable in my presence.
Yeah.
And that's the things that what Kim does, check on her. Hey, how is she doing? And I genuinely do care about her. Oddly enough, me and her went to grammar school, to the same grammar school together too. So we, like, I mean, it's not going to get to that point, but it's still like, hey, how is she doing? It's not like you said, the FaceTime, you got to include hubby, you got to include wifey in that conversation. When we do link up in our same cities, we all hang out together, we see each other. So yes, I had that, but unfortunately we were immature and young, so it was handled differently. And like, but
I feel like now too, like small things, like, I don't know, having these conversations during business hours, you know, not like a midnight, hey, this, it could be that something funny. It could be something funny, but you're that like, part too. Maybe I'll just say it tomorrow, versus like when we were alone, you could do it any hour when, you know, some minutes like, oh, look at this. But now it's like, you be being mindful of just how things can be perceived. So I think when you can have that mature friendship, and it's not for everyone, there'll be some friends that are going to be like, oh, looking kind of good over there. And you're like, oh, like, you know, it was cool when I was single, and we may have never crossed that line, but yeah, you just got to know, because you don't want to put yourself in a position that has you weird in your own house, you know? Right. You're like, well, is it worth it? So
that's funny. My guy friend, he'll compliment me, but like not really.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, and then I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like,
yeah.
You know, like, okay, shut up. But no, and I got a baby, so I'll be like, let me see the baby.
And see the baby. And I know you guys have friend, like they're your authentic friend, because you didn't say he's a brother to me.
Yeah,
that's when it gets scary. Yeah, what you mean to your sister?
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's a brother to me. Brother to you or your brother? Like, you know, but when it's your friend, it's your friend. It's like, that's my friend. Like, yeah, that's what it is. Not a brother, he's my friend. You know.
Yeah, he and I also like both are from Mississippi, so like our family dynamics and like some of our traumas are very similar, and so we talk about that as well. And I feel like that's kind of how we. I don't want to say how we bond, not like trauma bond, but like he can talk to me about that and I'll like understand it. Like he don't got to do a lot of explaining.
Ooh. Actually, now you guys say it, it makes you think about, what about when your friend, like when we talk about friendships, when they get into a relationship and you lose your friend to a relationship, you know, because it's like, whether it's your girlfriend or it's like, oh, we were all a group and now all you do is you kick it with them. We just want 5 minutes. We say get lunch, you know. My boyfriend. Like
that happens when like my female friends get a man.
Yeah, they're like, my boyfriend. Like, okay. They gone until they hurt. Then they lean on your shoulder for 2 seconds, run back to the toxicity, and they gone again to the wind. And then it's like this, like.
I got my feelings hurt real bad over that.
You tell me.
No. It's still got time.
No, yeah.
I think I mentioned it like early in one of the other episodes, but I got hurt.
It's true.
I was like, you picked me over.
You're like, hey, remember me?
Yeah, hello. I was there before. I
was here too.
Yeah.
Like, is this healthy? Are you overly obsessed? Like, you should have time to yourself. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, that always, you know, I've seen that thing, and you just go, well, you know.
No, but that friend too, they be like, oh yeah, I know, but let me hang out with Babe real quick.
Yeah,
and then it's kind of like,
okay, go be happy. I guess.
And it's like you already know, so it's like almost like you don't. Well, until I got hurt, like even now, but I don't really take it personally.
Yeah.
Until that time, that was real personal. But I was just, you know, but nowadays I'm just like, okay, well, like I know they just like, like I don't look at it as like a slight to me. I don't look at it as like I wasn't important enough to them. Like they may have a void that they're trying to fill.
And they're trying to build something.
And I'm just like, you know what? This how they know how to survive. I know how to survive in a different way, right? So I can't knock them for the way that they choose to survive, even if that involves like a man, or even if that involves ditching me today, you know? So it's like, either I can continue to be their friend and let it ride, or I can be like, hey, I don't like that, you know? So I just put the ball back in my court and be like, Kimberly, is this something that you can continue to deal with? Yes or no, you know, or you can call it out and then we can move on.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
We could yap for hours,
I
y'all, as
know.
you can see clearly. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
But don't. This will not be the last time that y'all will see cross collabs between us.
Yeah.
I so appreciate you
Yes, thank
for coming on and sharing yourselves with us and the people listening and watching.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can close.
Yeah,
it
I guess
out.
we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So, thanks so much for tuning in to the rest of our friendship series. We really hope you enjoyed the episode today. So, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at the Warm Truth Podcast. And also make sure you follow our guest at.
Oh, yes. LDBL Pod. Let that boy live pod. And thank you for letting me share my warm truth.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. And once again, thank y'all for watching. Follow us on all our handles, all over, everywhere, IG, YouTube, and then some. And then naturally, my family page at Don't Miss a Beat _Y. And my little golf thing, a girl and her swing. I can never get that right.
Yes.
But yeah, it's your girl Mel.
Yes.
Deuces,
And Kim. And don't forget to follow me at Kim Shell _ on IG. And just like that, we are done. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.